We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. The mask have become a partisan issue, unfortunately, but it's a patriotic act. The fact is that they're the single best thing we can do. They're even more important than the vaccines because they take time to work. But if there's one message to cut through to everyone in this country, is this: the vaccines are safe. Please, for yourself, your family, your community, this country, take the vaccine when it's your turn and available. I do support a $15 minimum wage. I think there is equally as much, if not more, evidence to dictate that it would grow the economy and long run and medium run benefit small businesses as well as large businesses, and it would not have such a dilatory effect. That's why I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. I'm going to eliminate a significant number of the tax. I'm going to make the corporate tax 28%. It shouldn't be 21%. I do think that in this moment of economic pain and strain, that we should be eliminating interest on the debts that are accumulated, number one. And number two, I'm prepared to write off the $10,000 debt, but not 50. We can no longer delay or do the bare minimum to address climate change. This is a global existential crisis, and we'll all suffer the consequences if we fail. That's why, as president, I immediately rejoined the Paris Agreement. We have to push back against the Chinese government's economic abuses and coercion that undercut the foundations of the international economic system. Everyone must play by the same rules. That's why addressing recklessness, Russian recklessness, and hacking into computer networks in the United States and across Europe and the world has become critical to protecting our collective security. Our European partners have also stood with us to counter ISIS. We cannot allow ISIS to reopen and regroup and threaten people in the Middle East and Europe and the United States and elsewhere. It's not time for small measures. We need to be bold. We have to start by creating new good-paying jobs, capping those abandoned wells, reclaiming mines, turning old brownfield sites into new hubs of economic growth, creating new good-paying jobs in those communities where those workers live, because they help build this country. It's about coming to the moment to deal with this maximum threat that that's now facing us, climate change, with a greater sense of urgency. In my view, we've already waited too long to deal with this climate crisis. We can't wait any longer. The first one I'm going to be signing here is the Strengthened Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. And of all times that we need to reinstate access to, affordability of, and extent of access to Medicaid is now, in the middle of this COVID crisis. Reproductive rights are a constitutional right, and in fact, every woman should have that right. But the only responsible response to that would be to pass legislation making Roe the law of the land. That's what I would do. And the second order I'm signing relates to protecting women's health at home and abroad, and it reinstates the changes that were made in Title X and other things, making it harder for women to have access to affordable health care as it relates to reproductive rights. This is about how America is safer, stronger, more prosperous when we have a fair, orderly, and humane legal immigration system. And with the first action today, we're going to work to undo the moral and national shame of the previous administration that literally, not figuratively, ripped children from the arms of their families, their mothers and fathers at the border, and with no plan, none whatsoever, to reunify the children who are still in custody and their parents. I'm not opposed to the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is an absolute, though, like any other amendment. It's not absolute. As president, I'm not going to just get us to universal background checks, closing the gun show loophole, the online loophole. We're also going to close the Charleston loophole so that you can't have the time run out to allow you to get a gun. We're going to get weapons of war off the street and out of our communities. We shouldn't be defunding cops. We should be mandating the things that we should be doing within police departments and make sure there's total transparency. Look, what I support is the police having the opportunity to deal with the problems they face. And I'm totally opposed to defunding the police officers. No one can tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol. We all know that's true. And it is unacceptable, totally unacceptable. The cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer. A cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must confront and we will defeat.